Welcome back to our channel, where we educate you on how to become financially free. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Today we will be discussing a very interesting topic that I like to call the how the rich use debt to get richer minority mindset. I came across this term while reading a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. In the book, it explains how the wealthy use debt to grow their wealth. But at the same time, the poor and middle class avoid debt at all cost. And one of the characters in the story explains why this happens. He says that there are two mindsets when it comes to money. There is a majority mindset and a minority mindset. The avoidance of debt is a good example of a majority mindset. In order to understand what he means, let's look at the definition of a majority and minority. A majority is a greater part or number of something. It has more than one other part or parts. Or you can think of it as a greater share or amount. On the other hand, a minority is a smaller part or number compared to others. Or you can think of it as a small share or amount. So therefore, the rich have a minority mindset when it comes to debt, meaning they see things differently from the majority. The majority mindset, which is the poor and middle class, sees debt as a bad thing. Now, before we go into details, let me ask you a question. Do you think the rich or the poor are more intelligent? If you said the rich, then you're right. But if you said the poor, then I will ask you to take another guess. Think about it. Let me give you some facts. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 36% of adults in America have a bachelor's degree or higher. However, look at this. 78% of adults in America with a bachelor's degree or higher have an income of $60,000 or more. That is almost 4 times more than the national average. Also, according to the Social Science Research Network, only 11% of Americans hold 90% of the country's wealth. So I'll ask you again, do you think the rich or the poor are more intelligent? If you've still answered the rich, then let me challenge your thinking. The fact that 89% of people have less than $1 million in assets doesn't mean that they aren't smart. It simply means that they have a different mindset. I want you to pay close attention, because what I am about to tell you is not just theory. It is backed up by multiple studies. This is something I learned firsthand, not only from my personal experience, but also through speaking with over 500 successful entrepreneurs and business owners. The reason I share these stories is to show you that there's nothing wrong with being a member of the majority. Everyone who wants to work hard and become financially free can do so. I just want to introduce you to the different ways of thinking and let you decide for yourself which one works best for you. Your goal should be to make the most amount of money possible, period. It doesn't matter whether you have a majority mindset or a minority mindset. One of the main differences between the majority and minority mindset is the belief system. For example, the majority believes that someone else's success means that they have lost. On the other hand, the minority knows that if somebody else succeeds, then it means that it is possible and that they can also succeed. One mindset sees life as a game where everybody wins, whereas the other sees it as a competition. If you believe that everybody can win, then you will take actions that benefit the majority mindset. You might choose a stable job with a pension plan over a risky career as an entrepreneur. You might also choose to save more money instead of investing in yourself or your education. On the other hand, if you see life as a competition, then you will do whatever it takes to win. You won't let anyone get ahead of you, and you will stop at nothing to reach your goals. For example, in school, the majority student chooses a major that leads to a stable job after graduation. Meanwhile, the minority student chooses a major that aligns with his passion, and he isn't afraid to take risks. After graduation, the majority student finds a stable job and starts saving money. On the other hand, the minority student starts a business that aligns with his passion. He puts in long hours and makes sacrifices until he achieves success. Years go by, and the majority student continues to save money, but the minority student has built a successful business that generates multiple streams of income. When the recession hits, the majority student loses his savings and gets a lower-paying job. Meanwhile, the minority student's business has grown enough to sustain him during the recession. So if we compare the end results of both students, we can see that the one who was considered smart and followed the majority mindset actually ended up worse off than the one who was considered stupid and followed the minority mindset. And this is exactly why I say that there is nothing wrong with being a member of the majority. Both students did what they thought was right for them at the time. They had different mindsets and different goals. However, the story doesn't have to end here. So with the right mindset and actions, the majority student can also achieve success. It's not impossible. He just needs to learn from the mistakes of the past and adjust his mindset accordingly. Let's look at some of the ways the rich use debt to get richer. No. 1. Leverage to buy assets. Buying an asset with leverage is the fastest way to build wealth. The rich understand this, which is why they often use debt to buy income-producing assets such as rental properties, stocks, or bonds. By using leverage, they can control more assets than they could if they were only using their own money. This allows them to generate more income and build wealth faster. The rich are willing to take calculated risks and use debt strategically to maximize their returns. On the other hand, the poor and middle class tend to avoid debt because they don't understand how to use it effectively. No. 2. Buy now, pay later. Another way the rich use debt to get richer is by taking advantage of the buy now, pay later option. This allows them to purchase goods or services immediately and pay for them over time. By doing this, they are able to spread out their payments and manage their cash flow more effectively. They may use this option to buy inventory for their business or to purchase equipment that they need to operate their business. By spreading out the payments, they are able to keep more cash on hand to invest in other opportunities. Once again, the poor and middle class tend to avoid debt and would rather save up for what they want to buy. This can prevent them from taking advantage of opportunities that could help them build wealth. No. 3. Tax benefits. The rich also use debt to take advantage of the tax benefits associated with borrowing money. Interest payments on loans are often tax deductible, which can reduce their tax burden and increase their net income. For example, the rich may borrow money to invest in real estate and take advantage of the tax deductions associated with mortgage interest payments. They may also use debt to finance a new business and deduct the interest payments from their taxable income. The poor and middle class often don't take advantage of these tax benefits because they don't have access to the same borrowing opportunities, or they may not be aware of the tax implications of debt. In conclusion, the rich and poor have different mindsets when it comes to money and debt. The rich understand how to use debt to their advantage, while the poor and middle class tend to avoid it. Well, there's no right or wrong way to manage your finances. It is important to understand the different perspectives on debt and how it can impact your financial situation. By adopting a more open mindset towards debt, you may be able to find new ways to grow your wealth and achieve your financial goals. Just remember to always be aware of the risks involved in any financial decision and take steps to protect yourself against potential losses.
So I want to ask you, do you agree with the idea that debt can be a useful tool for building wealth?
If you want to learn more about how the rich use debt to get rich, then make sure to check out this video here. I thank you for watching, and until next time, I wish you all the best in your journey towards financial freedom.